Hello, my name is Chenoa Stock, and I am your mission coworker serving in Bolivia with the Joining Hands Network there, Umavida. Joining Hands for Life.
And I am Don Shaw, Hunger Action Advocate for Cascades Presbytery, and I want to welcome you back. This is part 3 of a series on the Joining Hands program. This time we look into the future. Now, Chenoa and I both have this magical crystal ball, but you can't see it because we can't either, so we don't know where we're going. But God is in charge, and we're going along to see where God leads us. And Chenoa, what do you see happening?
Right, well, I know one thing I know is that Umavida now has a new board and a technical team, which is this team composed of our coordinator and myself and an accountant who kind of do the day-to-day operations for our future campaign. And so building on these team strengths and the contacts of our past campaign work and everything we've done in Oruro in partnership, working on mining contamination, we continue to be in Oruro where going there God has opened this door for us to find the places where we can be effective and have an impact and use these learnings from all of the evaluations and the reports we've done in the past.
Chenoa, you used the word campaign. Who are we voting for?
There's no election, Don. But a campaign is what we define as what is the change that we are looking for and what is the process of fulfilling that. And so normally we take a case study somewhere. And so it's kind of a case study in a local area to shed light on a greater issue, which in Bolivia we're focusing on water and the extractivist industry and how it's affecting those communities. And so our campaign and our case study is in Oruro. And from all of our past work and everything we've done, what we're trying and we're hoping to do is focusing on this opportunity that has been given to us to be a part of the drafting of the water law. As you mentioned, the Constitution was written again in 2009, and so laws are still being written and formed. And so we are hoping to be a part of that and advocate for the drafting of a just law and then subsequently advocating for the passing of it.
So as I understand it, we have this new Constitution, not unlike the U.S. Constitution, which is a broad framework.
Right.
And then following that, there needs to be the rewriting of all the laws so they conform to what this new Constitution says.
Exactly.
And that's where we are, and that's very political.
Yes, that is political. But it comes from our call as Christians to care for the earth, and that is what the water law, and we're hoping in the water law that we can find and come out of. And within that, we're also looking at situations also in Oruro, looking at, caring for the earth. The second biggest lake in Bolivia actually dried up in this past December 2015. And the government has said it's natural causes, which is true, and that there has been climate change, of course, in Bolivia with its glaciers and everything. But we also know there has been diversion of the water for mining practices. And so this is another situation where we're trying to confront through the water law and through the writing of the water law.
Good.
So we are excited to see how that unfolds and where this path will take us from our crystal ball and looking there. As we see, as the dynamics of the country, these possibilities are endless for, what we can do.
And it's heartbreaking to see a lake dry up,
Yes.
whatever the cause. And I think that because I have visited, I've seen some of the situations where fishing has been affected,
Right.
livelihoods. I mean, the
Crops.
impact is
Right.
huge
Right.
when this sort of thing happens.
Right.
So I get excited about this.
Yeah.
And I'm a partnership congregation with the church where I worship currently. But suppose I'm an individual with a church that doesn't have a partnership, and I've been prodding my pastor since the beginning of time, and my pastor isn't interested. Can I somehow plug in?
You can. And it's exciting. It's a great time to ask because we have this new initiative to connect U.S. Presbyterian congregations or individuals or presbyteries from across the nation, anyone who is interested in these issues and working with this Joining Hands model for advocacy and for this long-term sustainable change.
I don't have to be part of the Presbytery of the Cascades?
You don't. No, anyone, any individual can come and join us. And how you join us are through these 3 tables that are under different issues. So we have a table for climate change or extractive industries, which has, of course, there are 8 networks of joining hands in the world, and so every network is focused on different issues. And so if you're at that table, you'll hear not only from Bolivia, but you'll hear from Peru, or you'll hear from the Cameroon. Another table is focused on land and food, and so having access to food, not only access, but also the whole process of production, distribution, consumption. And so hearing from countries such as Sri Lanka, or India and Southeast Asia, who are dealing with those issues, or El Salvador in Central America. And then the last table is focused on trade, whether that be fair trade, getting a good living wage for the products that you produce, or trade agreements that happens within countries and deciding and determining who actually has power, the company or the state, the government.
And all these things ultimately impact hunger, which is why we're in the midst of this through the Presbytery and Hunger Program.
Exactly.
Got it.
And so each table holds these 1-hour online calls. Sometimes it's with an online, so you have a PowerPoint. Sometimes it's just calling in and listening to the presenter. And these are once a month, so it's not too much of your time either. You can learn a lot in a little bit of time. And they're focused around the topics of these different table issues, where different people, so it could be a facilitator like myself, it could be our global partner in Bolivia or in Haiti who's explaining to us something, or it could be you all who are talking about your issues of water, other issues in your region or in your church.
So, I don't want to sign up for yet another something or other.
Many do not, right?
But I'm curious, can I try this on once?
Yes, you can. There are facilitators for each table who send out an email, and you can sign up whenever you want. So if that time doesn't work for you, you wait for the next month and you can be there. But you're not committed. That doesn't mean you have to be there on every call. It's just when you can. And they also send out the links and everything to the webinar, to the call-in if you weren't able to make it. So you can still catch up and save it in your inbox or save it in your documents.
So if I never go to Bolivia, I can still impact water quality around the world.
Yes, you can still be a part of this international mission as it's a part of this advocacy piece, but also the education piece. So, not everyone can travel, but you can still learn and be a part and make an impact. Exactly.
So we have partnerships then going on. Let me pick on you in Bolivia. What does Bolivia want from us? Because if it's a partnership, it isn't just we give them whatever we want to give them and they can take it or leave it. What do they want?
Right. Well, I would say as we embark on this new phase of our campaign, kind of building off of everything, the international piece is really important. It's not, we are of course grateful for the prayers and the accompaniment, but that accompaniment is so much more felt when you go and you see, and you walk with the people of Machacamarca and Oruro and see their crops and this barren desert where they cannot grow crops, and talk with the people and hear from their experiences, and then come back to your congregation and you share that. You share the stories and you share your own stories with them. And again, if you can't travel, then this sharing of contacts and experiences and resources and expertise are also very necessary. Bolivia, as you said, is competent, but sometimes we don't have everything, and we need to think outside the box and see from a different perspective to widen the pathway where we're going, where we can go. And I think another thing I would say is patience. When we talk about long-term mission, is that 10 minutes? Oh. When we talk about long-term mission, it takes time. And the campaign has to take time to unfold, both within the government, just talking or gathering groups of people and grassroots groups. And so it's having patience as we go through this research part and just walking with us. And also doing research on your own part and seeing how do the water issues, how does water work in my area, in my neighborhood, in my municipality, and sharing those situations as well and sharing that information.
And I think, as with all the great social movements that the church has plugged into, we've not done it solo. We've cooperated with all kinds of other groups inside and outside the church, all of us working for the same thing. And this is one of the things that excites me is the spillover into all the other aspects of life.
Right. Yeah, and it's trying to understand these situations more deeply. But I would ask the same question of you. What is Cascades wanting from this partnership and from Bolivia?
Well, we want results, clearly. We want to connect with the people. And there may be some ways we can do that by sharing our lives back and forth, whether it be praying for one another or hearing stories or learning, so that it isn't just textbook stuff. We want to have real connections with real people so that we have a sense of not only am I sort of making a difference, but I know somebody whose life I've actually impacted by my efforts. I think that's an important piece. We want this to be a theological experience in the sense that we are partnering with God. And through this, it's more than do-gooder. We bring something unique to the table. It's the Presbyterian community of faith, and we want to make sure that's present. The delegations are very good. We want to do more delegations and continue to do those. And so I guess I would say to you, in wrapping this up, do you have any final remarks you would like to make as we conclude our series?
Sure. I think, as you mentioned, we are all people and children of God, and we are called by God to care for our earth, to heal it, to restore it, and be the people present to address the bigger issue that interconnects us. And so I'd just like to thank you. Thank you for your accompaniment. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your support, both financially and spiritually. And just from the heart of everyone of Umavida, I would just like to say, muchas gracias.
And I would also like to conclude by saying thank you for your support of the One Great Hour of Sharing, which ultimately supports the Presbyterian Hunger Program, which supports our work in Bolivia through the Joining Hands program. And I also want to invite you who feel so motivated to do so to support Chenoa directly. All our mission personnel also seek direct support, and you can find her on the PCUSA website, or you can contact me, or you can contact her. So thank you again for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact me.